We read there in Job chapter 14, verse 14, if a man dies, will he live again? Now, sooner or later, Job's question is asked by all of mankind. And there's no doubt about the answer to the first part of this question. For it is appointed unto men once to die, Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27 tells us. So the real problem is, shall we live again? No question is more universal than this one. So what's the answer to this haunting question, with which everyone must come to terms with? Well, many things might be said in reply, but all answers may be summed up under three headings. The first heading, some say answer is no to Job's question. This is the answer of the materialist. The materialist says that all there is to humans is flesh, bone, blood, and nerve tissue. What happens after death? Well, the materialist answers nothing. Where do we go? According to the materialist, nowhere. This is also the answer of the atheist. The atheist says we live, we strive, we sorrow, and rejoice. We reproduce ourselves, then we die. And that is the end of us. Oh, we have a little more ability to think than the lower animals, they say. But that's about the sum and substance of the difference. This is also the answer of the Epicurean. Their view is, let us eat, drink, and be merry. For tomorrow, we die. And that's all there is. The second heading says, we don't know the answer to this question. These people say we cannot answer for certain. The answer may be no, or it may be yes. We just don't know. This is the answer of the agnostic. Agnostic's a term that was invented by Thomas Huxley. The word agnostic is translated from a Greek word, and that Greek word means unknown. The agnostic does not say that there's no future life outright. Rather, that we cannot know one way or the other. Without Christ, the greatest minds of history have not been able to be sure of life after death. Even the Greek philosopher Socrates, as he faced death, could do no better than to say, and I quote him, "The time of my departure has arrived for me to die and you to live. Which is better? Only God knows." The agnostic does not help us. There's no strength in doubt. No matter how beautifully phrased, nor is there salvation in a question mark. The question Job asked, if a man dies, shall he live again? The agnostic says maybe yes, maybe no. We cannot know for sure. There's no help in that. The third heading, some say the answer is yes. Job's question, if a man dies, shall he live again, is answered by Jesus Christ himself in John chapter 14, verse 19, when he said, because I live, you also will live. Job's question is as old as the human race. Job stated dramatically the finality of death in chapter 14, verse 12. So man lies down and does not rise till the heavens are no more. Men will not awake or be aroused from their sleep. But Job wished that it were not so. If there is no hope, one must still hope. Job's heart literally leaped with longing as he voiced his question with bated breath if man dies, will he live again? But he never answered his own question. The New Testament, however, does answer the question. Where are we to live? We're to live in a city. The theme, the city of God, runs throughout the Bible. We dream of it here. Our dream will be realized there. Speaking of Abraham, the writer of the Epistle of Hebrews says in chapter 11, beginning of verse 9, by faith he became a sojourner in the land of promise, as in a land not his own, dwelling in tents with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for the city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is God. In what are we to live? Well, Paul tells the Corinthians in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 1. For we know that if the earthly house of our tabernacle be dissolved, we have a building from God, a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. Paul's meaning is that we will have an eternal dwelling place with Jesus and all of his saints of all the ages. So how are we to live? Well, Paul answers that question. He tells the Corinthians in 2 Corinthians 5, beginning at verse 2, for verily in this we groan, longing to be clothed upon with our habitation, which is from heaven. If so be that being clothed, we shall not be found naked. Each of us is going to live in a resurrection body. A body as perfectly suited for heaven's realm as our mortal bodies are for this life that we're living now. So the Job's question, if man dies, will he live again? I'll stand before you this morning to answer that question by telling you absolutely yes, we will. If we be trusting in Jesus Christ, by faith believing in Him. Because Jesus lives, we also will live. We will live in a city. We will live in a permanent dwelling place. We will live in a resurrection body like that of our Lord's. Jesus Christ is God's answer to Job's question. Now my question this morning to each of you is, do you believe with no doubt in Jesus Christ? Are you trusting in Him with your life? Will you live each and every day for Him? However you answer those questions, and whatever your need may be, this altar is open. Altar is simply a place where man meets God. I encourage you this morning, meet God this morning. Miss Jack?